Hey, today we want to go over a couple of things about our boards, just to specifically mention them when we get ready for the first project here in the Intro to Industrial Tech class. We're going to be using a board like this. Now, you probably can't tell, maybe you can, but this is a piece of white pine. Pine is a softwood. It's a 1x6, so if you were to go to Menards or Lowe's, Home Depot, any of those stores like that, you would ask or look for the 1x6 boards. So, and we want to go over and cover so we have some idea of what our standard terminology is so that we can all be on the same page as we talk about these boards and how we cut and shape and form them into whatever object that we are wanting to do. So I mentioned that the board is a 1x6 board. That's what we call it. Now, that is a nominal size, what we refer to as a nominal size. So all of your construction lumber is kind of done as a nominal size, whether it's a 1x6 or 2x4, 2x8s, 2x12s, 1x8s. You can buy all of this type of lumber as a nominal size. That is not the actual size of the board. The actual size of this board measures 3/4 inch by 5.5. And these are industry standards that are out there so that no matter who's processing the lumber, who's selling it, it's an industry standard that applies across the board throughout the American industry. Now, I mentioned that I am specifically saying it is a 1x6 or the actual size is 3/4 by 5.5, because that gets us to the next terminology that we have to be aware of. We will be referring to everything. Every one of these boards will have a thickness, will have a width, and will have a length associated with it. And we have to always follow the industry standard. So that standard is we name the thickness first, and we say what the width is, and we follow it up by the length. So in the case of these 1x6s, we actually bought 10-footers. We're splitting those in half so that each of you will get half of a 10-footer. But when I went to the store, I put in a request and I said I need 50 1x6 by 10-foot pine select boards. So, and that's what we got. So thickness by width by length. We'll never refer to it as 8 foot by 2 foot by 4 foot or 4 inches by 3 inches by 20. It's always going to be your thickness first, followed up by the width, and then the length. So you have to be aware of that. Now, we also have some terminology related to the 6 sides of the board. So we're going to do a little sketch here. Sketching is pretty important in industrial tech. We convey a lot of information through drawings. And so it's important to kind of practice developing your sketching technique and your sketching skills because it's a quick way to jot something down and convey information to somebody else. So you're going to start out with, we're going to kind of draw this board. We'll start kind of with the 2-dimensional shape, which is a rectangle. Now, I'm going to put some extension lines and some dimensions on this so that we all are sharing the same frame of reference here. So I'm going to start with my thickness. So I have an extension line coming out here like this. So, and that's my thickness. So I'm just going to put a T in there for right now. T stands for thickness. I'm going to put a couple of dimension lines. Now your dimension lines has an arrow, and the arrow points to both of those extension lines, so we kind of recognize and understand what that represents. So that's our thickness. I'm going to put an extension line here, an extension line here. That is our width. So, and again, my dimension lines going with the arrowheads back from one extension line to another. So now I know my thickness, which in this case is a 3/4 inch actual size, and my width, which is 5.5 inches actual size. Now, I'm going to change this 2-dimensional object into or sketch into a 3-dimensional sketch. And I'm going to do that by just drawing a couple of lines that are at an angle. So we'll select a 45 degree, about a 45 degree to kind of make this look that way. It is important to recognize and realize when we do this, we want all of these lines to be parallel with each other to make it look nice. So I'm going to start at this corner, and I'm going to go up at a 45-degree line, right like that. So I'm going to come over to the other corner, and I'm going to do another 45-degree line. Now remember, try to keep that as parallel as possible. So now, the horizontal line here, so we're going to make a parallel horizontal line that connects the dots up here. So there, that connects that dot. And we have a vertical line here, so we're going to come from this corner down the same length as that. So again, these are going to be parallel. So there is that. And then I just go ahead and connect the dots with another parallel angular line there at 45 degrees. So that gives me a representation of the board. And just to label this, so I will go, this is going to be my length, and here are my dimension lines there for the length of this board, whatever that board length will actually be. Now, there are 6 sides to this board, and so that we're all talking about the same thing, we need to refer to those sides by its correct name. So we're going to start out in this widest area, the area with the most surface. The area that we actually see, I'll bring this board here, where it really shows you all of the grain structure. And in this case, I don't know, again, sometimes it's kind of hard to see. I'll put this a little closer. You can see that grain structure. So this is actually a flat sawn board. You can see how we have these, what they refer to as cathedral peaks. That's as the wood is processed as it's cut. You can get quarter sawn board or flat sawn. This is a flat sawn board. Just has to do with the way the board is processed, but we got to pay attention to how those knots and stuff come in. So we're going to kind of mimic that grain structure a little bit on here. But this widest surface, the greatest surface area, is what we call the face. And again, we're going to see the grain structure, and that grain structure is kind of going to go right there along that face lengthwise, something like that. And that's the face of the board. Now, this side, and we have 2 faces on the back. So, piece of equipment, when we use the planer, we will actually be cutting the faces of the board to kind of make those faces parallel with each other. So this side of the board is called the edge. So this is the edge. So we got the face and we have the edge. And again, the grain structure, it's the narrower part, but again, your grain structure is going to kind of run the length of that there as you go. Now that leaves us with the least attractive of the board area. That's called the end. So there's 2 ends. So there's 2 faces, 2 edges, and 2 ends. And the end shows the cutoff. That's where we're cutting through when we're cross cutting. And usually you will see some type of curve, especially on flat sawn type wood, where you're going to see that grain structure, and you'll be able to tell it kind of lines up here with the grain structure on there. That's kind of showing the rings. I'll put this up. So this board, we'll put this up. I don't know whether you'll be able to see it a little bit. Yeah, you can kind of see how that's kind of curved a little bit on that end. And you'll notice how it's also a lot rougher. So that's because of the fibers and the way the tree is. So your ends will require the most amount of sanding to really get that smooth. So those are on the 6 sides of the board. That is the proper terminology and what we refer to each of those sides as. So the face, the edge, or the end. So, and I'm going to be talking about that when we start to check for square, or when we're measuring, marking, and layout points where we reference some of our dimensions from. we're going to have to talk. Well, you're going to reference that, take your measurement from the end, or maybe you'll measure and take a measurement from an edge, something along that line. So this is why this terminology here is pretty important for us to get to know, and so as we go. So that's a quick little lesson here on the 6 sides of board and proper terminology, what we call it, letting you know about the nominal size versus the actual size as well. So have a great day.